Hi, it's Gary with Convention of States, and I want to talk a little bit about the affordability crisis that is impacting millions of people across America. There are three aspects of this I'm going to talk about: housing, income inequality, and then general inflation. First of all, housing. For more than 20 years, we've been underbuilding housing. We've not built enough to really keep up with the rate of knockdowns of obsolete housing, and that destroyed through fires, floods, natural disasters, etc. And that's just a long-term problem. It's driven in part by regulations, regulation, minimum lot sizes, minimum this, minimum that. All these requirements and regulations, land use restrictions, zoning, etc., have made housing more expensive and less affordable. Makes it difficult for people to afford housing. The second thing, or the third aspect of that, really, besides underbuilding and regulation, is the zero interest rate policies. Zero interest rate policy, which prevailed very largely from 2008 through 2022. There was a period in there, a couple of years before COVID, when rates were starting to rise, but still remain very low by historical periods. We had a 14-year period with very low interest rates. This drove investors to buy housing. Huge amounts of housing were bought up by investment groups, turned into rentals, and the cost of housing more than doubled over that 14-year period for almost all the housing in America. So what you're having is wages don't more than double, so it creates an affordability crisis. The second aspect is income inequality. And incomes in America, the portion of it, the percentage of it that's been going to wages has been going down very slowly, but very dramatically over about a 50-year period, so that wages earned by ordinary people or wage earners is a lower portion of all income that's earned as compared to rents and profits, capital gains, etc. So lower wages for average working people. This has been caused in part by illegal immigration generally, and illegal immigration in particular, because immigrants come in and take low-skilled jobs and in some cases skilled work, but they drive wages down. And so that's part of the reason that's driving wages down. Also, when millions of people come in, they got to be housed somewhere. Government subsidizing housing for illegal immigrants is driving up demand while driving down wages. This makes the affordability crisis worse. And the third aspect of the affordability crisis is really general inflation. Things like food, whether it's groceries or restaurant meals, have been a big driver of inflation, and healthcare costs have been a big driver of inflation. Why have healthcare costs gone up, you may ask? We have Obamacare. Everybody looks back now and realizes that Obamacare, rather than making healthcare more affordable for more people, it's made it less affordable for most everybody. And why do we have these government policies that make things worse for average people? Well, studies indicate that something like 94 95% of all political donations come from about 10% of the people, and about 70% of all political donations come from just 1% of the people. So who do you think is driving policies that are being made by government, not just the federal level, but the state level and the local level? It's the people who fund the campaigns. Government is working great for the people who fund the campaigns. For the most part, there's fights over which side should fund it, or which side should be in control. But both sides want control because government is way too big and spends way too much money. Convention of States wants to put limits on federal spending, limits on exercise of federal power, the things the federal government is involved in, and, oh, by the way, term limits. The framers of our Constitution understood that government tends to come under the influence of people who benefit from government. When you have a very small government, there's not that many people, and they don't benefit that much. When you have a really big government spending a third, 30% of GDP, then there are many people who both have tremendous desire to influence government policy and people who want to get on the gravy train to benefit from government spending. That's why we want to have a convention of states. The affordability crisis at its core is driven in many respects by government policies, whether it's loose monetary policy causing inflation, illegal immigration, driving down wages, driving up costs, or just the underbuilding of housing because of all these factors working together. That's how I see it. The affordability crisis is a lot of it is just driven by bad government policy. I'm Gary, and that's how I see it.